Okay. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Mental Arts with John Worthington. I'm Vanessa Worthington, and with me, I have John Worthington. Hi, John. How are you today?
I'm wonderful again. I can't help it. It's a state of being.
That's just who you are, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure it's who I am, but it's a state of being.
It's a part of it, right?
Yes.
Today I wanted to cover a couple of concepts that we've been jiggling around that you've been talking about and stuff. So, one of them is program,
Hmm.
right? And then the other one is a meta program. And another one is a self meta program.
Hmm. Okay.
And I don't know if we could step into the beings of the supra self meta program, but I'd like you to give us a little bit of an introduction of what is each and one of them and why do we have them and what are they good for and what do we share them with and do you put cheese on them? What happens?
Oh, okay. I'm not so sure about the cheese. Well, it depends on the cheese. If it's a good if it's a good cheese, it's okay. But if it's not, we'll have to think about it. Okay.
Okay.
First of all, let's start with just a program. Okay. A
Mm-hmm.
program is a set of instructions. Period. A set of instructions. And it's a set of instructions to do anything and everything. That's what a program does. It just does stuff. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You have a program to walk. I have a program to walk. Everybody, all God children got a program to walk. Okay. It's like right now, Leah's the program to roll over. She's
Mm-hmm.
fighting with it. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
And crawling.
and well, yeah, that all of those things. She's trying to move her little body around and say, okay, look, everybody else is doing this. Why can't I?
Mm-hmm.
There are other programs such as there's lots of programs really, and the reality is that all those programs can be they can be um, controlled through meta programs. Now, meta programs are also sets of instructions. Okay, it's a set of instructions. Every one of them is a set of instructions. But a meta program is a set of instructions that controls sets of instructions. Okay, or it controls sets of programs. Um, an
So when
example of
you
that.
say when you say that, you say, so do we have like one meta program for each bunch of like is it like the tie the like the you know how you have a bunch of flowers and you tie it together? Would that be like the meta program?
Not exactly.
Like the
It is, but not really, because it's more like stringing beads together than it is tying flowers together. Okay,
okay.
because okay, let's take your computer. Okay, or just any computer. Let's just think about a computer here for a second and think about what it does. In your computer or anybody's computer, they have a they have all kinds of ideas and things that are happening. For instance, the other night we were talking to Paul, and so you can kind of see here that there's a well, you can't see it on this right here,
No.
but there's in any given app, any given app on your phone, there are a number of meta programs which control that app. For instance, in let's say YouTube, okay, there's a video program. There's there's part of a video program there. There's part of a share program there. That means it accesses your contacts. It has a graphics program. It has a word processing program. It has a sound program, etc. All those are parts. All those are meta programs behind the program itself, supporting the program, and therefore controlling it. But it controls it by that the meta program can do. So, for instance, what a word processing meta program can do is word processing. That's why they call it a word processing metaprogram, I suspect, but I'm not really sure, but I'm pretty sure that's true. A graphics program does graphics. The thing is that because it's a meta program, it can also that same graphics program or the same graphics instructions in the operating system will allow the app to borrow the graphics program in your basic graphics system operating system. The same thing for word processing or calculations or even for any part of an application. That's the same for us, okay? So we can have a little bit of anger, a little bit of happy, a little bit of oh, sexy, and a little bit of well, ain't I the shits, and a little bit of can't touch this, and all wrapped up in a single program, okay? Because all those are meta programs back behind it. Now, we can also share programs back and forth. In other words, they're interchangeable parts. The meta programs have got parts in them that we can, like Legos, we can put them together any way we want to, and we do, of course. That's
Okay, yeah.
That's the neat thing. So a self meta program is obviously a meta program that controls sets of meta programs. Okay. And a self-meta program would be something that we believe is real. So, for instance, most people think that honesty is something that they have to do. They have to be honest. And so honesty affects everything that they do to a certain extent. If they feel as though they can be dishonest, then dishonesty will also be in everything that they try to do. If they're musically inclined, let's say, then probably music will be part of almost anything that they do. If they're all into how they look, for instance, then they're going to be fashion plates in anything that they do. Okay, because there's going to be a part of that meta program or that self meta program, that belief in real, that's going to show up in all of the meta programs, all of them, because it's going to be all of them are going to be painted that color. That I can't touch this. It's going to be in all those meta programs, the anger meta program, the happy meta program, the I know I'm right meta program, the I'm the smartest kid in the class program, the I'm the dumbest kid in the class program. I don't know how to do those things. I can do these things over here meta program. All those. Those are all classes of meta programs that control whole sets of programs. But we don't see them because it's what we use to think. Okay. So it's like it's our eyes. We can't see the color of our eyes. We can try to, but we can't really see the color of our eyes simply because, well, we're using them. Okay, and so when we're using programs, we can't see them either because they're busy being used, obviously. Okay, so we don't have a way of doing that. We can look at them after the fact, maybe, but not while they're in use, I don't think. Sometimes we can, but it's more of awareness rather than a control of it. And the control comes from doing it over and over and over and over and over. So it actually becomes a routine in the body. So a supra self meta program, if we could conceive of such a thing, would be a meta program which is more than the body. It supersedes the body's instructions. For instance, language is a supra self meta program. The language exists outside of me. Okay, I simply borrow the language to use it, right? Do you understand what I'm saying about that?
No, I think I do, but I don't know if our listeners would.
Okay, well, here's the thing: is that language is not something that I own. Language lives all by itself out in the world, not inside of me. I may partake in language and enjoy its life, but the reality is that language itself is a supra self meta program outside of me. Law is a supra self meta program outside of me. Religious beliefs are supra self meta programs outside of me. However, I think that we can safely adjust a concept here and say that we can achieve, let's say, beliefs in real and supra self meta programs that are not necessarily religious or language based. Those are also available, and they can be extremely useful. Uh, an example would be semantics. Everybody says, "Oh, you're just using semantics." The people don't know what semantics are. I know that they're pretty familiar with the word, but they don't know what it really means. It's the problem, because semantics, it really has to do with the structure of the language itself. It's how's the language structured. It's like, where does this type of word go? Where does that type of word go? Where does that type of word go? And when they go in that order, they have a meaning. When they go in a different order, they have a different meaning. Okay, here's a famous one from the Pennsylvania Dutch or the Amish. Throw Papa down the hat is hair. Throw Papa down the stairs is hat. Okay, what they mean, when the people who speak Low German, what they mean when they say that is because in Low German that's the right semantics. But what they mean when they say it in English is they want you to throw Papa's hat down the stairs to him. But what they say is
how do you say it?
Throw Papa down the stairs his hat.
Throw Papa down the stairs his hat. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. See,
And so
I feel like that I would say for Spanish though.
Well, yes, because it's the same thing in Spanish. You turn the verb and the noun around.
It kind of, but in English it does sound weird for people.
Because the syntax won't support that. That means that you're throwing Papa down the stairs.
Yeah.
His hat. What?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Okay. So proper syntax is to throw the hat down the stairs to Papa.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the proper syntax. But if you change the syntax, you would say throw Papa down the stairs his hat. Okay, that would be a way of saying it. Okay, so that, I mean, that's not good or bad. It's just it's different syntax. That's it. I think most often what people are trying to say when they talk about syntax is they're talking about hermeneutics. Now, most people have no idea what hermeneutics is, and I don't blame them. It's not a common phrase or a common idea. But hermeneutics is the idea of how it is that we as human beings act on our beliefs, and our beliefs will cause us to act, and our acts will cause us to believe. That's a circular idea, and in hermeneutics it's called the Hermeneutic Circle, because both things are true. If there's a belief, there's an action that supports it. And if there's an action, then there has to be a belief. Those things have to go together. And so when people ask you about things, when people say, this is what I want, this is what I want to know, this is what I want to understand, etc., one of the things that happens is that you know what they're doing, know what they're asking about because of how they're asking it. Because how they're asking it tells you what they're doing. Okay. Now that's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just that's the nature of communication. But it's in hermeneutics where we can see what that actually means. Because when somebody is doing something, and asking a question is an actual doing, it causes something to take place. Then we have to consider what that action is based on. What belief is that action based on? Okay, and so that will tell you a whole lot about what the person means. Okay, so we have to look at all of those things when we think about a program, actually, because that program has a meaning to each individual. In other words, I can't write this is one of those crazy things that people talk about, that they can be brainwashed. Oh, what a poppycock. How can you be brainwashed?
How can they be brainwashed?
Right. Well, that's the thing. It's because they're the only ones who can write programs for them. I can't write a program for you. Even if I were to try, your brain would pretty quickly kick it out because it doesn't make sense to you. The only way that it wouldn't kick it out is if you actually believed that. Then you would be what we call in agreement. Okay? And you can be in agreement with things that you don't, well, let's say that you don't know, that you don't know you're in agreement with, especially on the super self meta program level. For instance, right now we have a whole bunch of people that are yelling and screaming about masks or vaccinations or what have you. and we have another whole group of people saying, oh, that those people are wrong. Okay, now
Mm-hmm.
both sides have got their points, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, some of them are more scientific than others. Some of them are more, well, let's say rebellious than others. Okay, some of them are saying that they want freedom, but it's freedom from something, not freedom to something. You see, I think that if I'm being honest, I can be free to wear a mask. I don't have to be free from wearing a mask, because then I got to fight with everybody else who's wearing one, saying, "Oh, I'm free from that. Why are you doing it to me? Why are you making me look at your mask?"
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
it's because I'm going to
So the
rub you
way
or
that they're
something.
seeing,
Yeah, stick them
like
up. Stick them up right now. I want
like people are free to wear a mask, but they're seeing it as like they have to wear a mask, like
Yes.
as
Well, I'm free to wear pants, but in reality, I have to. Yeah, I don't want the kids being scared and so forth.
everybody. Yeah, we need that on. Yes, John, I agree. Um, so so when you're saying that like people have to like if they saw it in a different way of like you're saying that like the belief that they have as the super meta program level is where they're fighting about why they're wearing the mask.
Well, you see, the thing is there's a belief in real. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So, for instance, some people think that what the doctors say is real. They just give the doctors that credit. They say, okay, the doctor went to school and did the thing. There's no reason for him to lie.
Mhm.
People who are basically untrustworthy themselves will probably tend toward not trusting anybody else either, because they think, well, I'm normal. I do what everybody else does. This is something I believe is real, that nobody can really trust me. Now,
Mhm.
the thing is they may be as honest as the day is long, but they may feel as though they can't be trusted, or they may feel as though that nobody trusts them, or they may feel as though that nobody believes them.
Mhm.
Your heart's got to go out to those people that they're that lonely, and I think a loneliness is a lot of it. They don't really
Mhm.
have anybody that they can trust enough to talk to. That they have to well, let's say they have to be their own counsel, and
Mhm.
that can't be a good thing for anybody. I mean, if I'm talking to myself about what I need to do, I have a fool for a counselor. Okay, I can't do a good job talking to me about what I need to get done. Somebody else has to do that, because what I'm talking about is what I'm looking with.
Mhm.
Even when I'm talking to myself, I'm still looking with that.
Mhm.
The only way I can examine what I'm doing is if I have something outside of me, a platform outside of me with which I can measure what it is I'm doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so you're saying like for instance like you can't see like a freckle on your face. You have to
No,
have a mirror,
I have to have a
right?
mirror. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
so it's the same thing. You can't see the color of your own eyes. You need to have a mirror, right?
Yeah.
And
If
so,
you
like,
get
if you
real,
have a freckle, they're like, "Oh, is it a freckle? Or is it a pimple?" You need to have that. Oh, well, I think it's a freckle, and then you have to have the third party, the other person outside of you, being like, "No, I think it's a pimple."
okay, right. And if we got real zen about it, we could also say the knife can't cut itself. I mean,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's true. That is,
you
it's
know,
also yep.
yeah. So another one of
Hmm.
those happy things.
Yeah, no,
But
but I
yeah,
think that yes, you still have to have like you can't consult, what you're doing by yourself. Like,
no,
if not, we would all
no,
the
not
world would
not
be a different place,
okay,
let me just
okay,
say.
not wisely.
Yeah.
However, that's the reason why that we introduced the functions, because the
Okay.
functions give people with
What are
their
functions?
the functions are, let's say, supra self meta programs that one can
Okay.
adapt can adopt if one wishes.
Mhm.
They're not religious. They simply
Mhm.
acknowledge the existence of the spirit or the soul or something of that nature, and assign it functions.
Okay.
And the functions are things that are archetypical in our, shall we say, our human experience. Okay.
Mhm. Okay.
And so the thing is that what happens with that human experience is that we need somebody or something that tells us what we're doing, that what we're doing works for us or doesn't work for us.
Mm-hmm.
Religion tried to do that for us. Okay, it did. It said, okay, look, let me give you some rules here, boys and girls. I mean, I know you guys are a bunch of sheep herders and so forth, but listen up, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of them weren't sheep herders, some were masons, and some of them were priests, and some of them were highfalutin. It was a society. But anyway, they gave them what they did is they said, okay, here's a set of rules. You know, look, don't kill anybody. You know, honor your dad and your mom because you know they're older and wiser than you are. You don't lie to people because you lie to people, you know, it just causes bad things. Don't try chasing down your neighbor's wife because he's going to shoot you over it. You don't you know look, you just got one God, okay? You don't need to have 57 gods, okay? You know, you guys are not named Heinz, so one God will do, okay? And that's me. I'm the God, and so you guys you're stuck with me, and that's how it is. And so take those rules and go back down there and talk to the sheepers and tell them this is how it is that God said so. They'll believe you. And so that's what Moses did. And so we have those 10 commandments. Well, those 10 commandments have been around for a while, pretty much. The Sumerians have been talking about them. The Assyrians have been talking about them. It goes back quite a ways. So the idea here is simply that, look, that's a platform outside of ourselves to look at what we do.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a very complicated one. It is one. That's it. But
Mm-hmm.
it's not complicated. Okay, so therefore, because it's a platform, there could be other platforms that would work, I think. So years ago, I discovered this platform that goes like that we suggest in the harmony class and in other classes for people to examine, not to examine to see whether the thing works or not. It does. It
Mm-hmm.
works fine. To examine how they can use it.
How they
It's like,
can use the functions for their.
yeah, how they can use the structure for themselves, let's say.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay, because you see, we three-dimensional people, we have to be able to see the geometry of something in order to be able to understand it really. If it just lays on a flat piece of paper, we can't really quite visualize it because we live in a three-dimensional world. If
Mm-hmm.
we can visualize it, if we can visualize a structure on a three-dimensional scale, then it makes it easier for us, I think, to be able to see what it is we're trying to do or what it is we're talking about. So that Paul has a wonderful illustration of that particular idea that he can manipulate on his computer. I don't know how that works myself. It's beyond my
Okay,
pay
I'll
grade.
invite them next time so we can give a bigger demonstration on that a little bit more so people can see what you're talking
Oh,
about. But
that'd be cool, yeah.
yeah.
But anyway, the idea here is this: is that there there's a way of saying, okay, I'm on one side and I'm trying to do something, and you're on another side and you're trying to do something. You know, everybody gets to try to do something sometime, right? And
Mm-hmm.
everybody does their thing really good. And so what we try to do is we try to tell them, okay, here, look, here are four structures, here are four localities that your mind lives in. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
one locality is within the function of of a specific function. In other words,
Mm-hmm.
everybody has something that they do really, really, really well. Okay, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
The Japanese have a word for it. They call it this. It's called ikigai. And the ikigai, everybody has an ikigai. There's in the study where they found this word and found what it meant and so forth. One lady picked tea. That was her job, but her ikigai was to plan parties. She was the village party planner. If you were going to have a wedding or a birthday or
Mm-hmm.
any of those kinds of things, you went to see this lady and she planned the party out for you. And it was always going to
Mm-hmm.
be a success because she was good at that. That was her ikigai, her gift, her don, if you'd like
Mm-hmm.
to say it in Spanish. So
Okay.
everybody has one of those, okay? So, and it's not just music or math or accounting or algebra or art or any of those kinds of things. There's all kinds of gifts, all kinds of things that people do, and they do it really, 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 really well. Now, that's a whole thing. That's a whole geography, if you will, of what we can do within our dawn. Now, when we do it right in the middle of that geography, we're at our strongest point. But that doesn't mean that's the only place we can do it. We can do it anywhere at all in that whole area.
Mm-hmm.
Another area would be natural mind function. One of the biggest problems I've ever encountered is trying to convince people that their brain actually works.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to consciously use it. As a matter of fact, consciousness is part of it working. And so if you're trying to use your consciousness to run your brain, it's kind of like saying that, like your radiator is going to drive your car. It's a lot. It's almost the same thing. Okay, the radiator is necessary. You got to have it there, keep the car cooled off and running and everything. Got to have it. Okay, but it doesn't run the car, really. The car won't run without it, but you got to have it, and you got to have it, but it doesn't. It doesn't drive the car. Okay, it just doesn't do it. Sorry, but that's kind of what we do when we say, okay, that we're going to decide that we're consciously about what we believe. You can't. You can decide to move to that zone, but the belief part doesn't take place consciously, guys. It doesn't. In other words, it's something. It's designed not to. It's designed to. That's the whole thing. Is you believe something. Go back to hunting and gathering as an example. Okay. So a guy goes out to hunt and he wants to kills an animal to bring it back for mom and the kids to eat. Okay. Okay. And so he has to believe that he can do that. He has to believe that he knows where that animal is going to be. He has to believe that he understands what's going on. He has to believe that he can accomplish that thing. He has to believe in himself. He has to believe in the animal. He has all kinds of stuff. All those things are things that he has to say is real. Now he doesn't know any of that. There's no way for him to know that because he doesn't have that animal in his hand yet. Okay, the animal's still out there running around loose. Okay, and so the idea is that the guy has to believe that he can overcome the animal. Now that belief will let him pull back his arrow or take a slingshot or sling and throw a rock at the animal and kill it, and then he can take it home and eat it. Okay. Or he can fish for it and pull it out of the water.
Yeah,
but he has to believe that that's possible. Okay, he can't be afraid of the water, for instance. If he's going to fish he's going to get wet. If he fishes, sooner or later, if you fish, you're going to get wet. You have to know that's true. It's like riding a motorcycle. If you think that you can ride a motorcycle and stay dry, you're crazy. No, you can't. If you're ride a motorcycle, you're going to get wet. So either be prepared to be wet and let the water stay outside, or just get soaked and freeze to death. Whatever you want to do, it's fine with me. But it's the same thing, okay? It's the same kind of sure bet. Okay.
So to wrap it up, so how do you? So with the analogy of the phone, how would you structure every single one of them, from the supra, the self, the meta, and the program?
Let's start with where I use the phone, okay? Because where I use the phone is well, they're not recurring events necessarily, but it's the detailed instructions of what I want the phone to do. In other words, when I type in "Hey Vanessa" on a chat thing, it's because I want to send Vanessa a message and I want to say "Hey Vanessa." Okay, so that's minutia kind of, okay. But which app do I use? Do I use Messenger? Do I use WhatsApp? Do I use Slack? Do I use there's a whole host. Do I send you an email? There's all kinds of things that I could use, right? I could use Hangouts, etc. There's lots of ways I can get a hold of you. But let's say that you and I use Slack, so I just choose that because that's the most convenient. Well, that's a program, that Slack program, okay? And it's supported by meta programs in my biocomputer. But it's like, first of all, I want to say hi to Vanessa, and so what I write in the computer is me being saying this is what I want to do. This is the minutia of what I'm accomplishing here. I'm using the app so that I can say, hey, look, can you come on on Zoom, for instance, as opposed to saying, hey, Vanessa, come on Zoom. Those are two different meta programs, right? They're two different reasons for calling for writing that thing to begin with. And so I might want to use something that's more bold in my and to accomplish that I take out of my font meta program, so I can say that more boldly to you, for instance.
Okay.
Okay. The reason why I want to talk with you, well, there can be lots of reasons. I could be angry with you. I can just say, hey, you're my kid, so I'd like to say hi to you. I could say, okay, I'd like to see the grandbabies for a moment. I can say all kinds of things. See, none of them are good or bad or right or wrong. They're things. Okay, they're just occurrences that happen. But the motivation for those things have to do with supra-self meta programs. Why is that? Why would I want to talk with you, or why would I want to talk with the grandchildren? Well, it's because I'm related to you. I'm your father. I'm their grandfather. So there are supra-self meta programs outside of me as a human being that are at work here, saying you have to. Hey, John, these kids are going to need to have contact with you. You old guy, you. So you got to talk to them. You got to keep in touch with them so they know where they are, so they don't get lost. You got to do that with your daughter too. You got to keep in touch with her every now and then so you don't get lost. Okay, if she gets lost, you got to say, well, if you find your way back, we'll wait for you. Maybe.
Leave breadcrumbs.
But you can make it back if you wanna. So if you come back, well, you come back around. Let's go at this again. See if we can work it out. But those are all supra self programs. They are, because the family is more than you. Okay, the tribe that you're in is more than you. The community that you're in is more than you. The country that you're in is more than you. And this is the problem that we have. This is a problem. This is a problem that we all face, and we've faced it for as long as it's been history, as far as I can tell. As long as we've been human beings, we've faced this problem, and that is do I decide, or does the supra self meta program decide? And almost always, who decides really is the supra self meta program, not me. I very rarely have. That's why there's a draft. Okay, for soldiers, because they don't decide. The draft says, okay, you're going, and so that kid's going to become a soldier. And when he becomes a soldier, then the government says, well, you're going to be this kind of soldier, that kind of soldier. You have these capabilities or that capability. That's what you're going to do. And there's not any question about it. It's just that's how it is. Okay. Because it's a supra-self meta program.
Okay.
Now, the thing is that we all tend to say, no, I really have free will. Yeah, you do. The question is, do you really want to have it? Because see, that's the problem, is that if you really want to have free will, then you have to use all of your brain. And that includes the parts that are not physical. You have to use all of the thinking apparatus. Well, you don't have to. There's no law. But, why would you not want to?
Well, yeah, you have it. Why not use it, right?
Well, if you got it, flaunt it. Let me see some.
That's right. So I think we're going to leave it at here, because I think you gave us a chunk. So, but I will invite Paul on, and we can talk a little bit more about it while we're seeing it on the screen. How about those apples?
Well, those are good apples. I think they're Macintoshes, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
Okie dokie. Well, thank you so much for clarifying those three concepts and giving us a little bit of what they are and what they're used for and stuff, and
sure,
why it would be nice for us to know.
We all have them. Those things exist in us already. And the vast majority of them work really, really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
But there's always a few stinkers that just, you know, you can come from a very good family and still have those stinker programs in your head. I mean, it just happens. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I
all right,
know.
kid. See you later then. How's that?
Okie dokie.
Thanks.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah. Have a good night.
I promise you too. Bye.
Bye.